President Biden is on his way to Israel tonight to meet with the prime minister as the Israel-Hamas war escalates. But the president's meetings with the Arab leaders is now canceled after a deadly explosion at a Gaza hospital.
So Israeli and Palestinian officials are trading blame for that blast that killed more than 500 people. ABC's Melissa Don has the latest.
Tension skyrocketing in the Middle East after an explosion at a hospital in Gaza killed hundreds of Palestinian civilians. Video circulating online shows the horror, the hospital packed with wounded patients and Palestinian families seeking shelter from the fighting. Israel's military is adamant they are not at fault, claiming to have evidence pointing to the Palestinian militant group Islamic Jihad.
Intelligence from few sources that we have in our hands indicates that the Islamic Jihad is responsible for the failed rocket launch which hit the hospital in Gaza.
A U.S. official telling ABC it is uncertain who launched the strike and it will take a while to determine. In a written statement, President Biden says he is outraged and deeply saddened by the explosion at the Gaza hospital and the terrible loss of life that resulted. The crisis erupting just as the president begins a high-stakes trip to Israel as a show of solidarity after Hamas massacred more than 1,400 people in Israel, the worst terror attack in the country's history. But the president's summit with Arab leaders now called off. White House officials calling it a mutual decision to cancel the meeting with the leaders of Jordan and Egypt and the president of the Palestinian Authority, Mahmoud Abbas. Abbas blaming Israel for the hospital attack. This, as Secret Service calls it, an immensely intricate security plan to protect the president in an active war zone. As airstrikes continue throughout the Gaza Strip, residents say they have no safe place to go.
We went to schools, they bombed schools. We went to the south, they bombed the south.
Israeli troops preparing for a possible ground invasion against Hamas, with tanks and troops gathering along the border with Gaza. Israel says there are still 300 unaccounted for and 199 hostages whose families hope to be released or rescued.
This is the worst nightmare every mother can have.
Biden said to urge Prime Minister Netanyahu to consider the consequences of a massive assault and the resulting humanitarian crisis. Melissa Don, ABC News, Los Angeles.
More Norfolk-based ships are headed toward Israel amid the conflict. The Pentagon is now sending USS Bataan and USS Carter Hall toward the Red Sea. Thousands of sailors and Marines aboard these ships deployed in July and spent months in the Gulf region before today's announcement. USS Mesa Verde will remain in the Mediterranean, and USS Gerald R. Ford's deployment is extended. The Ford Strike Group was recently repositioned to the Middle East to provide support amid the Israel-Hamas war. The ship has been out since May, and no word on how much longer that deployment will last. Another Norfolk-based carrier, USS Dwight D. Eisenhower, is headed to the eastern Mediterranean. That strike group left for its regularly scheduled deployment last weekend.